Silver stackers, make no mistake, our pursuit of silver is definitely a labor of love. But on the flip side, there's a few different benefits to silver stacking that I think the general community really doesn't get. First and foremost, obviously, most people start stacking for some type of financial benefit, right? You're trying to save money, you're trying to invest, you're trying to beat the man in some capacity, right? There's that. Is it really all it's cracked up to be? That's to be determined. But you'll hear a lot about that if you if you watch enough stacking videos. The second thing, which I find as kind of a side benefit, but one that could be just as important, is the collectability aspect. Now, if you ask most stackers, especially most individuals who started off as a true stacker, just trying to get weight under your belt, which used to be the mantra of stacking. It used to be, you're trying to get your first 25 ounces, your first 50 ounces, your first 100 ounces, and so on until you're just buried in, unnecessary silver and gold. Now, that's a good problem to have, right? If you're trying to create Scrooge McDuck's swimming pool. But other than that, I mean, the utility is limited. But really, when you think about the stacking community, it's interesting because I think part of the allure of stacking is that collectible aspect. And I'm wondering, what is it, other than silver and gold, bullion, that stackers collect? Now, I've noticed with a lot of other stacking channels, they tend to, be interested in other things, whether it's metals related or money related or history related. I think history is one of those things that, for stackers, I think it's kind of a universally interesting thing that they kind of all, look at and kind of, look for things there. Now, some of them are interested in military history. Some of them are interested in, U.S. history or world history. And I think, again, those are all things that can be incorporated into, quote unquote, your stack. Now, the reality is, again, as with most things in life, you only have a finite amount of money, right? So you have to decide, which of your pursuits that money's going to go towards. If you're working hourly and you only have, so much disposable income, you have to decide, between adding more bullion, which, again, can fulfill multiple, different goals, such as, financial or collectible, or, just your hobby, whatever it is. For me personally, for a long time, I was, a car guy. Love cars, love modifying cars, love me, I'm a BMW guy, so that was kind of, hit and miss. Now, if you've never driven any of the, the higher end BMWs, really BMW as a company is geared towards fun while driving, but they don't make comfortable cars. So if you like comfort, if you like other things like that, BMW is definitely not your car. If you like, being by yourself or with a very limited amount of people in the car and just, driving in the canyons or, letting it go on a, stretch of road, BMWs are good for that. They're really good handling cars. So myself, that was one of my pursuits. That's kind of gone by the wayside in the past few years, mainly because, I just don't have the time to spend, sitting there working on my car like I used to. Time, one of those things, right? That's why bullion kind of, made an impact, because it's something I can do for in a few minutes, when I'm bored, look at, AppMexJ and bullion and order some bullion. And then I can collect different things that are cool, interesting, and to me, kind of kill two birds with one stone. It's a good store of value. Now, is there a price to it? Yes, premiums, but it is what it is. I mean, I could just see dollars on a screen, or I can just, put some bullion away somewhere and know that I have it for a rainy day. Now, the other part with that is that, again, if you have other hobbies, such as, let's say, military history, there's so many different things there. People collect weapons, people collect, military uniforms and helmets and swords and all kinds of different things. And I think, that kind of stuff is so cool, which, when I think about it, I've always been interested. I've always watched shows like Pawn Stars, which is a scripted show to an extent. I actually know a few people that were on Pawn Stars, like selling stuff. I guess they went into a gold and silver pawn shop and ended up, being told, hey, you want to be on the show? And then, they kind of set up a separate meeting with Rick where, they do their song and dance. But most of the pawn shop, obviously, their goal is to make money. So it's just lowball city. But some of the items that they get in there, I'm just like, wow, like people just walking around with this kind of stuff that's, historic stuff, old president stuff, military stuff, Civil War this, and crazy that just normal ordinary people are walking around with this stuff that they've inherited or they found, or I bought this at a yard sale and it turns out to be an authentic something. Now, we're not talking Antiques Roadshow. I'm not going to take my Engelhard bar that Silverstruck told me to buy and take it to Grandma on Antiques Roadshow. We're more talking about other things that have to actually be appraised and looked at to make sure that they're the genuine article. Now, I think it's interesting because there are a few channels that I watch where I know that they're actually really interesting people. One example of that is a channel called Len here. Now, his old channel used to be called the Potter Stackers, so many of you probably know him from there. But he has a bunch of different interests. I mean, Len's done so many different things. Now, first, he's a veteran of the armed forces, but also he just has so many diverse interests and so many things that he's knowledgeable about, that he kind of makes videos on watches, and he has old videos from selling stuff on eBay. Obviously, he has some really good videos, he had a video of him buying bullion at a flea market. And it was one of those things where Len knows what he's talking about, and he knows BS when he sees it. And he was kind of calling the guy out on some of the things he was saying, and that ended up getting picked up by Coin Help You as a video to comment on, and that was pretty cool. I mean, it was a good video. Len makes good stuff. Very knowledgeable. So many of these guys in the community that are really in tune with what's out there, and it's a knowledge base. It's an experience and knowledge base that's just really cool to see. If I had time, more time, I'd be into certain things. I just don't find myself with the time. The hard part about that is that the more that time goes by, the less time you have. You just you keep getting wrapped up in things if you let that happen to yourself. So at some point, I gotta free up some of my time for some of my pursuits. But it's so cool to live vicariously through these other people and see what they're interested in. And I think it's interesting to kind of see what is the stacking community into. I feel like, as I watch other people's videos and the things they're interested in, I feel like there's common threads. Again, history is one of those things that I feel like stackers are pretty in tune with, whether, again, it's military history, U.S. history, world history, anything. Any type of historical stuff. I feel like the stacking mentality is right up that alley, where you can really put a lot of parallels there. And again, even with if we had a better mint here in the United States that produced great stuff, I feel like a lot of the patriotic aspect of stacking would be a little bit more prevalent. But our US mint has just been producing garbage for quite a while. Even the stuff that's really hyped up, the metals that they come out with, the peace dollars, the Morgan dollars, and it's just you hear about the quality issues and the shipping issues and the this and the that, and it's just wow, that's kind of embarrassing at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Especially when we're surrounded by other far more competent, far more engaged mints that are ready to sell their stuff at a cheaper price. It's crazy. Now, again, I'm interested to hear what it is you guys collect, and how much of your budget goes towards that kind of thing. Is it something that you do in conjunction with stacking, or is it one of those things where you got to choose, where that disposable income each month goes?